Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome back. Another episode of Walk-Ins Welcome. I'm your host, as always, Nick Ford. Got Michael Ray with me, and we are excited to help you grow your practice by tripling your revenue through digital marketing services and exceptional patient experience. What's up?
Hey, and today we've kept it simple, and practical.
Right.
Like our goal today is to help, and within the next 10, 15 minutes, to actually help you make something better.
Right. It's going to be very do these three things that are kind of different than what you've probably heard in the past. We're going to be talking about the new Google business profile. It used to be called Google My Business. I want to say probably about 3 months ago, something around that time frame. It switched to.
It's probably been now like 6 months.
Has it been 6 months?
Yeah, it
feels like yesterday.
Yeah, and I remember that transition. Like, wait, how do we say this? And now it feels weird to say Google My Business,
right?
Because now it's like Google GBP, which is just great. And then give it another 6 months, and they'll probably change.
Call it something else.
They'll probably call it Google Pro.
Well, let me tell you, your Google business profile is your lifeblood to Google.
Arguably, if you don't get this right, all the other things don't matter quite as much.
Right. When we're doing search engine optimization in general for our patient care clients, our search engine optimization services fall into three buckets. Okay. We do content optimization. Okay. We do technical optimization on the website. Right. And then we do a Google business profile optimization,
which is part of the off page too.
That's part of the off page as well. So is the Google Maps and all that. Right.
Yep.
But this is like your key to Google Maps. You're not getting on Google Maps without a Google business profile.
And we even know, and Google tries extremely hard to keep you on google.com and not to your own website.
Yeah. I mean,
they're super determined.
They've added call, visit the website,
appointment,
and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Right. So what I wanted to do, Michael had brought up the idea of doing a Google business profile optimization episode. Here's what I think, and I think Michael would agree, is that if you're listening to this, you probably already have a Google business profile. You've probably already put your name, address, phone number, probably a business description, right?
Could probably have some reviews.
Probably answering some of those reviews. You probably put some photos, your logo, those kind of things. You've probably already done those things.
The things that you've done was the things that walked you through how to do when you started it.
Correct.
And that's like the first 10 minutes. And then after that, you're answering those reviews. And that's where 95% of people stop.
Right.
Like they've done the things and I'm okay.
That's right. That's right. And so what I wanted to do was throw
the Sharpies out.
The Sharpies out. Three things that people overlook with their Google business profile, right?
Yeah.
The first one seems simple, but it's like when we take on a patient care company, an urgent care, something like that, it's always like the first thing we have to do is add the booking link directly into your scheduler. So most of the urgent cares we work with like Solve Health or Clockwise or something like that for their scheduler, right?
Yep.
But it's not on their Google business profile.
Yeah, and that's something too. If your company does online booking, you need this. If your company does not, you're never going to need this.
Right.
So, but when we say direct booking link, this is the actual clockwisemd.com, whatever link, not necessarily to your booking page on your website, because you're just adding an additional click. Now, it will make your analytics look better.
Right.
But we even had that discussion today about another client where the fewer clicks you can have a potential visitor go through, the more likely they're going to get what they want and commit and take the action.
Right.
We were even looking at a website the other day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look. This is on our webinar that we did. I've never seen this site before, but here we go. And then by the third click, I was like, I don't know how to book an appointment anymore.
We never got there. We never got to the booking page.
Yeah, I was like. I'm looking for these things. I'm very active, and by the time I got to the third page, I was like, I don't know where to go now. And she's like, yeah, that's the thing.
Right.
So just remember, like the reason why we're encouraging this, because people engage on that Google business profile. And if you noticed, you may not, but Google has made that page so sophisticated, like it is, and they just dumped Google websites. So that's not even. Like they used to force Google websites, and we used to create Google websites just to have them because Google liked us to have them. And then they're like, we're going to turn it off now. We don't need it anymore. And they're gone just like that.
Just like that.
They don't want
completely unindexed.
Yeah, they're just out. And so anyway, and that's Google for you. They just make a change, and we have to figure it out later.
Well, think of the user experience piece of this, right? You think about what Google wants and think about what your patient wants, right? Google doesn't want you to leave Google. And if you can create an environment, I know you want people on your website. I get it. I totally get it. You invested in your website. You want people to go there. You want them to learn about you. Google does not want that. Google wants you to stay on their platform. So if you give people a reason to stay on Google's platform by allowing them to book directly with you because they found exactly what they were looking for,
Yep.
Google's going to prioritize you.
Always.
Right? They're going to be like, people got what they wanted here. Let's move them up in the rankings because this is a relevant search. So
yeah, I would even say, like, if you're still not convinced on the importance of it, so Google has the ability to turn on call tracking internally. Right. So we don't call track Google Business Profile. Well, we can recognize that there are calls going through, but we don't like swap to our own number because that's just not the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
But Google has its own built-in call tracking. I can tell you right now, it's like 2 to 1 or 10 to 1 of people calling that Google profile versus going to your website and making that call because people just tap and go. They don't even think about it. Like,
well, we track the activity. Just think of one of the urgent cares that we work with.
Yeah.
We track everything.
Yep.
Now, whether or not obviously we don't record it for HIPAA violation purposes, right? We don't do that. But if somebody calls, like we have our platform, our dashboard, and I can see maybe there was like 100 calls from Google.
Yeah.
And there's like 900 calls from the Google Business Profile.
It's insane.
That's by design.
Yeah, good.
By design.
And that's across the board. That's not just medical. Like 95% of all the industries we've ever touched, profile every time. Like those calls in that profile generate majority of the calls. It's frustrating sometimes, right, but it's just the reality. But we noticed, like, when you make all these changes, those calls numbers start to go up. They really do. And whether you like it or not, people don't read. They just see a link and tap it and go.
It's because they got what they wanted.
And then even if you're on an Android device, they've now integrated Google Business Profile services into contacts and search. So when I'm typing in a phone number, it auto pulls it from search and just generates the name for me.
All right, complete sidetrack. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen is how Google, like, you can talk to your Google Assistant and tell it to book a appointment at your urgent care for you. And it sounds like a real freaking human being.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You, the patient care provider, would not know that that's a human talking to you.
Yeah, and that's something they've kind of like slowly rolled out, but it's just specifically for Pixels mostly. But I remember when they released that like a year and a half ago, and they did the task like, "Hey, we're going to book an appointment at a restaurant."
Unbelievable.
And they just like, "Hey, book me an appointment at a restaurant at this restaurant for this time," and then we literally listened to the robot say, "Hey, I like to book a time for this." Great, well, sure, yes, that's good. The restaurant had no idea.
It was unbelievably cool,
and that's where we're going. Where these devices are trying to assist us. They're trying to make our lives easier. Right. If anything, it makes them somewhat more complicated.
And super scary. All right, let's move on to the second point.
Yeah.
So one of the cool features that Google has for e-commerce type companies, people that sell products, is they have a way for you to fill out your products.
The Merchant Center stuff.
The Merchant Center stuff, right?
Yeah.
So products. Super counterintuitive for a patient care company to put products on there, but we've hacked that.
Your services are products.
Your services are now products, and you can treat Google did not turn that feature off for service providers.
No, they just left it wide open.
Yeah. So they don't show it. So if you don't fill it out, it doesn't populate empty on the Google search, right?
Yeah.
But here's what it does do. It allows you to put a service name, and then it allows you to place a picture. So create a picture in Canva, in Photoshop, whatever, and put scrapes and burns, right?
Yep.
Something like that as a service. You put all your services, vaccines, whatever. You just put all of these things in there. You have a picture for each one of them. You have a description of that product, even though it's a service. And now it's going to start populating on Google, and you will show up in better search results because you have filled out the product section as a service.
Yep. And it's dead simple to do.
Yeah.
It's super easy. And we try to do that with majority. If it makes sense, we do that. And we see, like, it's one of those, this is the thing. Google's a lot stupider than we think it is. It can get so confused so fast.
It can.
and you have to literally spoon feed this thing constantly. And the second it gets confused, because I have to remember, it's code, right? So it is looking very something specific. If it's given an alternative version of it, it's either just going to go straight for the alternative version or not know what to tell you. So the more you can, and if anything, you can look at Google Business Profile as like that feeder. Let me feed you these things that I want you to know, and this will be gold standard for you.
Right.
And so your product, your services, which are products in this situation, is that. And you want to highlight the ones that matter. You don't necessarily want to put in every service that you have available. Just pick the ones that matter the most.
Yeah, do the ones that are important that you're trying to track. But here's the real world application of this for the end user, right? They can pick urgent care near me, right? But I don't know about you, Michael. Sometimes an urgent care doesn't offer the thing I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. So does your urgent care offer x-rays? Does it not offer x-rays? Because not all of them do.
Yeah, like on-site
right?
x-rays, because that's our on-site lab services.
On-site labs, all these things. But just think about it now. If I'm the user and I've had that experience in the past and I need to go to an urgent care and immediate care, my search would change just a hair to urgent care that offers x-ray services.
And you know what? That profile that has that information in there is probably going to show up first.
It's going to populate. It will, because you filled out that service description. It matched urgent care near me with the service that you're looking for. Boom. You rank for that search.
And then, so this is when your website does matter, because whatever products you have, or services that you're marketing as products, make sure you have a dedicated page for each one of those on your website, because it will give you the option to view more or view. And it needs to be lined up. Like it needs, because thinking about the experience and what Google's suggesting. So if it says like, oh, you know what, you offer x-ray services on site, you put that as a product on there. When I show up that search engine result page, I'm going to link straight to it. Because here's the thing, people don't like being sent to the homepage for everything, because it's not what they were really wanting half the time.
We bumped into that today, actually, didn't we?
Yeah, like there's a reason why they search for something. Like if they are very specific, you want them to land on a specific place. It's the reason why we do landing pages for ads. Like there's
and location pages for locations.
Yeah, don't put all your locations on a single page.
That's right.
There's the other tidbit.
Well, I mean, you can't just steer traffic, but ultimately you want a dedicated landing page with the location, with that location data, with everything regarding that location, right? If you're a multi-location business.
So final one though, this is something not many of you do.
This is a hack, man, because it works.
And it's literally like one little line on the profile that you ignore, but it's the Q&A section.
Right.
There's a simple Q&A section. Now you got to be careful here, because the questions and answers that you put out there need to be reflective of your services and stuff like that. It does not need to be specific to a particular person. Like that's more of a response to a review. But when they say, hey, do you offer X? And this is something too, you want to hack it a little bit. Here comes the hack.
This is the hack.
You want to get somebody to ask the questions that you know that are very specific to the services you want to rank for. And then you have a nice response for each one of them. And you're not just waiting on a rando person to ask you a question.
Let's go back to a way to hack. I'm talking to the urgent cares, and I apologize if you're in another patient care space, but this is important, right? So you as an urgent care can't put COVID-19 information. You can't advertise for it. You can't do any of that, right? You're not allowed to do that, but you still want to be a provider for COVID-19, right? Like testing and all those kinds of things. Well, if you can't do that, what you can do is you can go into the Q&A section of your Google Business Profile, have somebody ask, hey, do y'all offer COVID-19 services? And then you, the provider, answer that question.
Yep.
Yes, we offer it. Here's what we do, and detail it out with keyword injection.
Yep.
COVID-19, vaccines if you offer them. Testing if you offer them. Rapid testing, PCR testing, all these different kinds of things that you offer in that answer. Y'all, this is actually a pretty cool hack. Michael, you know this already. Our legacy agency is called Nick the Marketer. Here's the logo, right? So our legacy agency, the only question I put on there, I think at the time we were trying to target, was, do y'all offer geofencing?
Yeah.
We rank #1 all over Birmingham and even greater Alabama for geofencing, just because of that one thing.
We can't derank it.
I can't get rid of it now. I mean, we offer geofencing services. It's just not like our bread and butter. I was just testing something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like we show up in every kind of geofencing search.
Like, and you say, okay, well, I don't want to go through all the details of all the services. Well, if you're in urgent care, just let somebody ask a question. What kind of urgent care services do you offer? And then fill in the blank on the response.
Yep.
Like, if you're just going to do it one time, do it this way. Like, pick your primary service that you offer and let that be the question. And there you go.
You have to be a little patient with this hack, by the way.
Yep.
When somebody, yeah, right. So I didn't even put that together until just now. There it is. All puns intended. I like the crickets. Anyway, so with this hack, though, like obviously you're going to have somebody else log in with their email to ask this question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's not going to show up immediately in your Google business profile
No,
because
it's
Google
not.
takes forever to do everything.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you can go ask 100 questions and knock this out in 15 minutes, right? This is going to be something you got to wait on the thing to populate. You got to go back and answer it. It'll take time for it to populate your answer and all the different kinds of things. But listen to me. If your competitors are just putting the status quo out there and you start adding a direct booking link and you start putting your services out there as products and then you start doing the Q&A session, guess who's going to start winning on Google?
Yeah. Every time.
You own a chiropractic office, you're going to start beating your competitors. You own a dental practice, you're going to start beating your competitors if you start doing these hacks. I put a bonus one on here. The reason I put a bonus and not as a core, like I didn't put 4 overlooked Google business profiles, is because technically speaking, I can't prove that this increases your rankings.
And this particular one's been around for a while.
Right.
And we see some effectiveness from it, but it's not like the magic pill.
It's not consistent across all of our accounts, but it is. It's a nice to have,
and it's also kind of a butt to keep up.
And it is what
posting. So this is Google trying to become a social platform.
That's right.
This is Google Plus sneaking its way back in.
The last ditch effort.
Yeah. So posting is exactly what you think, an image with some text.
That's it.
And now it's funny though, because then they also bring in Facebook related stuff, so they don't know what to do with it.
I know.
But Google business profile posting has been around, well, in the Google My Business world at least too. So it's been around probably 2 years.
Right.
And it was one of the things that definitely made an impact at some point. Can't tell as much nowadays.
It could be a competitive edge though. That's why I wanted to add it as a bonus.
Yeah. If you've done everything else, and you don't know what that last thing, and it's literally the last thing on a profile, it's the very last thing, which means no one's looking at it.
Nobody looks at it.
No, not at all. I mean, we know if you can't get them in that first little cut, they're just not going to scroll half the time.
Yeah.
So this is that last little competitive edge. If you're checking all the other boxes, it's the last box to check. And to be completely honest, here's a hack to it. If you are posting to your website weekly on your blog or whatnot, if you're a WordPress website, then there is a plugin that can hook into that and push it for you. It's not perfect. Sometimes it's buggy, but that's just a way to save you a headache.
Right.
So anyway, but yeah, there you go. There are the 3 overlooked optimizations. And like I said, this is a super, like you can literally, as you're listening to us, you can open up your phone and do this right now from your phone, honestly.
Kind of. You have to go into Google Maps, and then you have to find your listing, and then you have to be logged into the right account. Yeah. This is a lot easier on a desktop, in all fairness.
It really, even though they completely ruined the interface.
They really did.
Like a month, and they're not letting go of it, so it's still there. But they haven't changed it either. Like they just turned on a switch and then walked away.
Don't get me started, Michael.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all again for listening in. I hope this was super helpful. Let us know if you've actually implemented some of these things. Send us an email, hello@patientcaremarketingpros.com. And then, of course, if you guys are in the urgent care world, we will be at the Las Vegas UCA conference, which in April, which is going to be fantastic. Nick's actually speaking.
I am going to be speaking. My topic I've put together, and my team is working with me on it, is called the Google Advantage.
Yeah, the Google Advantage is actually some really good information that will kind of put you over the edge.
Yep.
So there you go.
We'd love to meet you. If you listen to the podcast and you're going to be at the Urgent Care Association conference, come see us. We're going to have a booth there. Come see me at the talk. I'd love to talk with you. But until then, go leave us a review, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
See ya.
See ya.